الأمريكي لن يحميكم. الأمريكي لن يضعكم لا في قلبه ولا في حضنه. الأمريكي سيضعكم في جيبه لكي تكونوا أداة للمقايضة مع الدولارات التي يحملها، وهو بدأ بالمقايضة. إذا لم تحضروا أنفسكم للدفاع عن بلدكم وللمقاومة فلن تكونوا سوى عبيد عند العثماني. لن يحميكم سوى دولتكم، لن يدافع عنكم سوى الجيش.
I think we're doing a great job. I think the people of this country, I campaigned on ending the endless wars. We're all over the world fighting wars. Half the places, nobody even knows what they're doing over there. And I feel that we are doing the right thing, and I think the country feels that too. We've had tremendous support outside of the Little Washington area, and even in Washington, people are saying you're doing the right thing. And when President Obama took the PKK, when they bring in PKK, that's a tough deal because that's been a mortal enemy of Turkey. So when you bring them into a partnership, it's a tough situation.
Kendinize gelin. Bizim şu andaki
European Union.
operasyonumuzu
If you attempt to label our operations as an invasion, then it's simple.
İşimiz kolay.
We'll open our borders and send 3.6 million refugees your way.
Mülteciyi sizlere göndeririz.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
يلا يا شباب تابع 50
حيدر 50 لوين؟ خلصان؟ خالص 50 الله اكبر نظامي نحن هيك وراك نظاميين كده
أنا شباب الله
ولا كمثال
ما يبغى عنك
هيك هون عندنا قائد يحكي هيك والله بسم الله يا ابو زيود
عبيت مثل ما فهمتك ماشي يا غالي؟ ايه ود الباقي. من بارك الإسلام.
الله أكبر.
كرر يلا 14 يلا الله أكبر الله أكبر. يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا شباب لا تتجمعوا لا تتجمعوا يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يعني الشريك مسبق يا اخي يعني يا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الجيش الوطني الفيلق الثاني الفرقة الثانية على مداخل رأس العين وجاري التقدم إلى الأحياء.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
اللهم انصر الاسلام والمسلمين
آمين.
وعلي راية الاسلام والمسلمين
آمين.
ذل الشرك والمشركين
آمين.
اللهم لا ترفع لهم في السماء آية
آمين.
ولا تبقي لهم في الارض راية
آمين.
اللهم انت الحق وقولك الحق قل ادعوني استجب لكم هذا ما كتبه الله لكم يا اخوان.
السلام على رسول الله. تم بتاريخ 10/10/2019 اغتنام أسلحة وذخائر من قوات البكك الانفصالي الفيلق الثاني الفرقة الثانية.
كيف ظالم حسن جي على على بعض تدور كي صار بونا
والمسح يشاهدك زيادة بس كده هذا سر ساترنا
Unfortunately, Simon Phoenix was not coded. While you were sleeping, everyone in the city was installed code. It was a brilliant idea by Dr. Cocteau that an organically bioengineered microchip be sewn into the skin. Sensors all over the city can zero in on anyone at any time.
I can't even conceive a visual of what you police officers did before it was developed.
We work for a living. This fascist crap makes me want to puke.
What do you think you're scratching, caveman? You really think we'd let you go without control? Your code was implanted the second you thawed.
Why didn't you just shove a leash up my ass?
This device was widely utilized in the urban wars of the late 20th century, referred to as a pistol.
Look, I don't need a history lesson. Come on, Hal. Where the goddamn guns?
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Fuck you.
Your repeated violation of the verbal morality statute has caused me to notify the San Angeles Police Department. Please remain where you are for your reprimand.
Yeah, right. Fuckers are fast, too.
You are fined 1 credit for violation of the verbal morality.
Illegal. Alcohol, caffeine, contact sports, meat.
Are you shitting me?
John Spartan, you are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
What the hell is that?
John Spartan, you are fined 1 credit.
Bad language, chocolate, gasoline, uneducational toys, and anything spicy.
Zach, you had a full 10 seconds to figure out where to put the hole in your fucking head.
John Spartan, this display of barbaric behavior was unacceptable even in Phoenix's presence or your own.
Wonder about this shithead. If you think you got this maniac under control, trust me.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, Shalom Lavakwaim, that is peace to the elect. I want to do a short video, actually a kind of a response video off of this is Apostle Tahaj's channel, but it was actually a re-upload from the Elders channel. It's called Upload. It says, Salakia, all social media algorithms are built to be prejudiced against Jake. You know, so he was going into the fact that, you know, there's certain words that we say, and when you read the strike, that's, you know, that's actually what it pretty much says in a sense. Because I read the strike and it was talking about, they have computer-based design stuff to pick up, you know, certain words you say. But that still never stopped me from getting flagged. They find ways. That's why he says prejudice towards Jake. But anyway, this clip that I put in from Demolition Man, that's what reminds me of the minute, as you see Sylvester Stallone and this other guy, Wesley Snipes, when they cursed, so to speak, when they cursed, so-called cursed, used profane language, they automatically got a ticket. Now, this all ties in with this, what you see on YouTube and everything with their design. You know, look, Esau put these things in his movies because he's only showing you what's coming to pass. Now, it seemed like science fiction back in 1993, okay? But now in 2019 and even 2015 and even earlier, they were microchipping people. They are microchipping people. So this is for total control. This is the New World Order, okay? And this is why you've seen, when you watch the movie, they was talking about they had Taco Bell, certain restaurants, they was doing away with meat. And as you see now, they're trying to deal with everything vegetarian based. So they're pushing this New World Order. Also, the chip will also control your diet. You know, you can't have certain foods, especially if you're overweight or you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes. What they're saying now is we have the answers for all the cures and all the sicknesses. And this is what they're going to push, you know, out of chaos, or that KO, out of chaos. Okay, 2 Corinthians 2:11 says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, and that's one of his devices. And what he's going to do is cause all kind of hell and chaos so he can come with that RFID microchip. It's all about the total control. It's all about the end game. Okay, that's what this is all about. It's all about the end game. Or what's his name? Nicholas, I forgot his name. Guy Nicholas something. He exposed David Rockefeller. Okay? So like it's Aaron Russo. I believe his name is Aaron Russo. I guess one of the Rockefellers or something like that when you watch that video. So they have this in motion. That's why Hollywood is wizard based. You know, they deal with the left hand side. Okay, so by dealing with the left hand side, they already promote things and put things in the making before it happens. You know, they had a movie called AI, Artificial Intelligence, where you had the car talking. They're trying to make artificial robots, which they pretty much have. You know, so they only promoting things that they're actually going to come to pass with. Okay, so you know, we can see that according to the scriptures, this mark of the beast microchip is the truth. Okay, I mean, we see this to be the mark of the beast because that's part of the New World Order. Okay, out of the New World Order, when you read Job, the 20th chapter, I believe, it goes into that. Out of the New World Order, you know, they're trying to create a new government, a New World Order, a new monetary system. You know, so part of that New World Order is the monetary system. You know, you don't think they're going to have a New World Order with paper cash running around, paper currency. The New World Order means everything changes. Okay, healthcare, you know, the government, the monetary system, everything you know changes because they're going to be the ones that come in and say, we can clean it up, we can fix the problem. That's the first thing they're going to say. So let's go to Revelation 13:6. We've all read it, but we got to read it again. It says, and he calls us both small and great, and he calls us all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. And you saw that in Demolition Man. You know, they were so-called, one was a prisoner and one was a police. That was the free and the bond, so to speak, okay? And all of them had microchips. So it didn't matter. They know what they're talking about, man. These elites, they know what they're doing. They're actually speaking with Satan, okay, on the left-hand side, who is controlled by the Most High, okay? It says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So it's going to be a choice. You can, as long as you get chipped, you can get it in your right hand. And these chips, by the time they're really produced, they're going to be so small, okay, and so technological, just like in your cell phone, man. You got a little tiny ass chip in there that do a whole lot of stuff. You know, in your computer, they had the Pentium 4 or 5, you know, all these Pentium chips. And now they got the technology where you got a chip small of a grain of rice, and it'll probably be smaller than that. Okay, that's technology. Hell, they got cameras like that. They got satellites out of space that can zoom in on the nickel. You know, come on, man. To receive a mark in their right hand and forehead. So this priest Zabak of the house of Israel said, well, what if you take it out? Once that tissue grow around your hand, that small grain of rice, which will probably be even smaller, you won't be able to see the chip or know where the hell it's at. Okay? And you will need a special surgeon to try to cut it out. But it's too late. Once you get that thing, you're done. And by the time it grows around the artery, they're not going to risk taking that thing out and causing more trouble. And that surgeon may have a chip himself. He ain't taking a risk. He's going to lose his license and his career. They're not going to do that, man. Okay? Revelation 14:9. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, let's go on, verse 10. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath, which is poured out without mixture, into the cup of his indignation. So you have ISUBK, the general, IUIC, you got all these different groups saying, well, you know, it's Christianity, you know. Oh, wait a minute. How are you going to, the Lord, well, let's keep reading. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone. Okay? So if that was the case, if Christianity was the mark of the beast, then we would have been tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence, and it says here, in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. So if we was tormented, if we was following Christianity even 500 years ago, right? we would have been tormented with fire and brimstone. We would have got the nuclear destruction. You know, the second death. But you didn't see that back then. So this had to be a future prophecy. So how the hell could Christianity be the mark of the beast? Because that was the case. We would have had the mark of the beast. And let's say we had the mark of the beast back then reincarnated to today, none of us would be saved. None of us could get delivered. You know, so a lot of things is not adding up by saying the mark of the beast is embargo, Christianity. You got groups saying it's the buy and save is talking about nation against nation. Just all kind of madness. Sharp as a lot of you guys are that know the Bible and y'all know the truth as Israelites and know a lot about who Esau is and everything else. This one stumbling block has got you tripped up, man. You know? Let's read that again. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. This is in the book of Revelation. Okay, although there's some things that go back, you know, but this is an end time prophecy. And all through the scriptures, you know, you got end time prophecies. Okay, and this is an end time prophecy. Okay, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. Okay, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, okay, in the presence of the holy angels. And this word indignation is anger aroused by something unjust, unworthy, or mean, okay? Angry, the Lord's anger, man, you know? That's what you're going to get, the Lord's anger. And that word also goes back to indignant. Okay, that's what it actually is, indignant. When the etymology of this word, indignant, okay, it means indignus, unworthy, okay, unworthy. So when you read 14 and 10, it says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, of his anger. You know, unworthy, you being unworthy, anger, you didn't stand the test. Which really, if you get the chip, you're a reprobate, you know. This is why we know it's more than the law. You know, this is about faith at the end of the day. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone. I can't say that enough, okay. Christianity, how the hell is that Christianity? And right here it says the mark is in the right hand or forehead. This is Jake thinking too far ahead, man. He doesn't know when it's spiritual or when it's physical. You know, it wouldn't even have to say in your right hand or forehead, or it might, or just say in the right hand. But why say or the forehead? You know, Zabak says it's it's your hand, how you grasp it or whatever, and in your mind is how you accept it in. These are guys just making things up. And then when you go deep into the word karax, it just means impale, okay? Like Yahushua got, man. You know, you're gonna have to pay for that sin, which means destruction. Anyway, I just wanted to bring the fact that this movie kind of brought it to light, you know, about the cursing and the New World Order, so-called cursing, you know, the New World Order, how they ticket you for everything. How they setting up speed tickets that come to your house, okay? How they got camera tickets, you know, these speed tickets. The police don't even have to pull you over no more. You know, they digging up streets, putting all kind of electronic, you know, devices in the streets. You're gonna get a speeding tickets that's gonna come in the mail. So all kinds of things get ready happen. You know, and us at Great Millstone, we're pushing the true prophecy. Because without pushing this mark of the beast, nobody would be warned. These other groups are staying away from it. They're not even speaking on it. Even the ones that know it, they're not even speaking on it. We're the only ones pushing this, man. That's all I have on that. Shalom.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rukakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rukakadash, Bracha Thum. So, sometimes you get put in situations to where, you're going to make a decision what is best for a situation. I was in a situation, Most High had my back, of course. I mean, obviously that could have been a worse outcome, but the decision to end the lesson was one that was made very quickly, as you could tell, though, that no matter what, that Edomite was not going to leave. He was not going to leave. I'm a one-man camp. Am I going to confront him? Am I going to, am I King Kong? Am I stronger? I don't know what the Edomite's going to do. Or, of course, like everything else, the decision to end the lesson because the Edomite was not going to leave was what I came up with, and I had to make it quickly. As you could tell, though, I was doing everything I could to try to get him to leave. I told him that America's Babylon the Great, and this place is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire, as you would in any lesson, and he continued to interrupt and mock. So, the decision to end the lesson early was just one that I had to make. I had to make a vast decision, because no matter what, the work was already interrupted. He was mocking. Now, death will come to him very easily when the time is right. But, sometimes you got to be Clark Kent. You can't be in Superman mode, even though what we are teaching, most definitely we can't come against that, because we're still in Superman mode. But definitely, we're not Mike Tyson's or anything like that. So we got to, as they say, be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. So in a situation like that, the best thing I could do is just, and there was more even after the camera went off, but like everything else, I was in a situation that it was just best to go ahead and end it. I could always do another lesson, Lord willing, tomorrow maybe, But either way, I was still out there for a half hour, even though the Edomite might have come up. But that's the risks you go through in this truth. You'll be put in situations like that. But the Most High had my back. You could tell that, though. This could have been a worse outcome. I mean, there's been situations in camps where somebody pulls a gun, And what you didn't see on there is that that guy was making out like he was going to kick in the window of the building that I was at, He was like, you thought I was going to do it. This guy was fucking crazy, man. The guy was definitely a weirdo, and that you could tell on there. So the decision to pull out, and I'll bring it up on the screencast, the decision to pull out was, just one that you had to, you could see obviously that the lesson wasn't going much further anyways, and he's not going to leave, so I decided that it was time to pack up, and I'll come back and do another lesson later. I think that I got a good portion of that out. Of course, I was being interrupted abruptly, Had this been a 2 or 3 man camp, or if I were in San Francisco, you think that shit would be tolerated? No, man, they'd be running off. They'd be running off real easily. But when you're a one-man camp, things are a bit different. Most High and the angels have my back anyways. That's why nothing else happened. Thawada for that. That I was protected during that time. But you could see, though, that there was definitely demons on him. And, you tell him that America's Babylon the Great and all those things, they can't receive that. This place is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire. That's what hellfire is. That he speaks of. Either way, it comes at you with that stretch Christianity, the idolatry, because they worship another God than we do. You heard him say Jesus at the very end of that. Well, nope, don't pray to that God. So, I said Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, because I know the true name. He prays to another God. And that's what stretch Christianity is. So we'll take a good look back at that and then just go on to other things. So here it is, 26 minutes into this. I'm trying my best to continue the lesson and saying, look, man, your government's lying to you, everything else, and This Edomite just, man, he just wasn't going away anyways. You know, so the decision to leave, you know, just is one that I had to make. So you'll see what I mean here.
We saw Saddam Hussein get killed by the people. We've seen the leader of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, get killed, but there was no body of Osama bin Laden, even though that's the boogeyman that they wanted us to believe had caused the 9/11 attacks. Yet, there was an Illuminati card game that said terrorist nuke, and it shows the buildings coming down, you know, the 1996 Illuminati card game. And then you have even old footage of WWF saying the Twin Towers would come coming down. They put this in predictive programming for a reason. They had a reason for this. So they started the war of terror, and yet they would be looking for somebody. Remember that, you know, old interview on, you know, the guy from Trading Places that did the movie Trading Places, talked to Alex Jones and said that they would be looking for a guy in a case, but they wouldn't be able to find him, and this war would just go on. They'd be looking for him, and they were going to go into many places, you know, but yet they would never find him. But then all of a sudden, conveniently, oh, now they found him. They couldn't catch him all those times before, even though they had destroyed Iraq, they had gone in and destroyed Afghanistan, which is really about taking the drugs from the Russians, the poppy fields, you know, so that way they can take that. So that's why you're seeing all these other things pop up, and they want the war with Iran because, of course, you know, it's all about the oil. It's always been about the oil, and these Rothschilds know it. You know, that's always been their power structure, you know. Iran used to be a part of that until the coup d'etat of 1953, but then, after that coup d'etat, 1979 came the Islamic Revolution. Ever since then. I'm going to lift the God here. I'm going to lift the God here because this is America. I'm going to lift the God here. Well, you know that America is Babylon the Great, right? You know that America is Babylon the Great in the scriptures, right?
See what I mean? Total bug out. He was just trying to look for his fame. I mean, I played this video back to my wife, and that's what she said about him. But nonetheless, though, you can see, though, that, you know, the lesson was, though, that, you know, they create the boogeyman. They created this war because ineffably the last country that they wanted to go into was Iran. You know, and we're seeing that now. Troops are being moved into Saudi Arabia. I already knew that because of the fact that, well, you have WWE over there for about 2 years straight. They've been going into Saudi Arabia and doing their shows. So I knew that the troops had been moved in there and that there would be more false flags, and we're seeing that. So, nonetheless, though, he thought he was going to get his moments of fame. No, I'm not like the Sakari group going to say, yeah, Edomite gets width of this truth. You know, I'm not looking for catchy titles. The lesson is that the war in the Persian Gulf will lead to World War III. It's going to escalate to World War III. That was the lesson. I did the best I could to continue that lesson, you know, and I'll probably continue it more this week. Hopefully that Edomite doesn't show up. Like I said, you know, that was on a Sunday morning, and just another Edomite Christian, you know, coming in with his philosophies, wanting his fame. Obviously wasn't going to let me teach. And like everything else, though, what can I do to run him off, man? I don't know what this guy is capable of. So, you know, staying in the spirit of things, you know, that's what happened last weekend. Meanwhile, back in Syria, because this is taking place over the weekend, you know, Gomer is calling Operation Peace Spring. Day 7 of Turkey-Syria offensive. Latest updates. The Turkish army is pushing ahead with a military operation which entered into its 7th day on Tuesday against the Kurdish militants controlling northern Syria in complete defiance of the international community. The planned military campaign after the U.S. abruptly pulled its forces out of the region, leaving its longtime Kurdish allies, which, let's face it, that was a group that the United States could exploit, the very thing I was explaining on the streets. It was a group they could exploit, but they were never going to help the Kurds. No, of course not. The best thing the Kurds can do is, in fact,
work with the Syrian Arab army. That's the only protection they're going to have. Any deal with this devil, is they're just going to get screwed. In complete defiance of the international community. The planned military campaign came after the U.S. abruptly pulled its forces out of the region, leaving its longtime Kurdish allies there vulnerable to the Turkish offensive. And this is not the only time that America has screwed the Kurds. They did that in Iraq as well, and led to their slaughter. The developments led the Kurds to reach out to the Damascus government for support. So they did ask Bashar al-Assad for support. Reaching an agreement with the Syrian Arab army to enter towns near the border with Turkey. Here are the latest updates on Ankara's incursion on Tuesday. Syrian troops entered into Manbij. Syria's Al-Aqsa State TV reported that the Syrian government troops have deployed inside the northern city of Manbij in Aleppo province. The broadcast included footage of Manbij residents celebrating the arrival of Syrian forces. And I have that video here, so I'm going to go ahead and play that. Now, history should have told them to never trust the Edomites, but, nonetheless, though, they welcomed Bashar al-Assad and the Syrian Arab army, and here's footage from that.
يا ياباني بالجيش السوري يا يابا احنا قربان بشار الاسد واحنا قربان دولتنا يا ابو يحييهم الله ويا هلا بيهم يا هلا بيهم يا هلا بالمحافظ كلها حرب سوريه.
It kind of goes back to what Muammar Gaddafi said, that is my people love me, and same thing here in Syria. The people of Syria love Bashar al-Assad, despite what the U.S. and the mainstream media might tell you that, he's this brutal dictator. Well, if they're holding up pictures of Bashar al-Assad, and by the way, the people of Iraq also love Saddam Hussein, they would hold pictures up of him too, then we've been lied to the whole time, and that's just it, though. And that's what I was trying to state on the streets. That Edomite couldn't perceive that America was Babylon the Great. But nonetheless, though, pretty much, the Kurds have been betrayed again. As usual, you make any deals with this devil, he's going to betray you. The so-called Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that the Syrian Democratic Forces, which is the terrorists, because they protect ISIS, an alliance of mainly Kurdish militants, which that's a lie, had put up stiff resistance around the northeastern city of Rasan Haskan province. The Syrian Democratic Forces launched a major counterattack overnight against the Turkish forces and their Syrian proxies near Rasan al-In in the UK-based monitoring group. The Kurdish militants, it added, have managed to hold off the Turkish efforts to seize the city due to fortifications, tunnel networks, and a continuous supply of reinforcements. Ankara claimed earlier that its forces had captured Rasan al-Ain from Kurdish militants. Kurds report halting international aid. The self-proclaimed Kurdish authority in northeastern Syria complained that the Turkish invasion had forced all humanitarian organizations out of the region. The humanitarian plight of the displaced in areas targeted by the aggression had worsened, with all humanitarian aid being cut off and all international organizations ceasing their activities, it said in a statement. The Kurdish authority also estimated that the Turkish campaign had displaced more than 275,000 people, including over 70,000 children. Qatar takes Turkey's side. Qatar defended Turkey's Syria operation, saying Ankara has only acted against a threat. Speaking at a global security forum meeting in Doha, Qatar's Foreign Ministry Mohammed bin Jassim Al Thani said Ankara had been forced to respond to an imminent threat by the Turkish security, stressing we can't put all the blame on Turkey. Well, of course, because Turkey's really just all about protecting their assets in the Idlib province as well. Make no mistake about it. They're terrorist groups because the U.S. has created a new terrorist group called the Syrian Democratic Forces. So they have to back up their terrorists that are still in the Idlib province. So it's a little bit of everything. So they can just have an all-out war. Remember, the prophecy said Gomer and all his bands would be in this war, and we could see that. In the beginning, Turkey said, don't support these groups, he said, referring to the U.S.-backed YPG militants. Nobody listened. They have been trying to solve the issue for more than a year with the United Snakes to create a safe zone to get the threat away from their border. Turkey couldn't reach any solution with the U.S. They couldn't handle this threat until it became explosive for them, the top Qatari diplomat said. Turkey vows to continue operations until objectives are achieved. Turkish President Erdogan emphasized that the Syrian operation would not stop until all our objectives have been achieved. Allah willing, we will secure the region stretching from Manbij to our border with Iraq and ensure that in the first stage 1 million and then 2 million Syrian refugees return to their homes of their own free will, with Erdogan said in a televised speech in Baku. He further said that 1,000 square kilometers of Syrian territory had so far been liberated from the separatist terrorist organization, which, you know, all that is lies, because Bashar al-Assad already told you what was going on there, you know, that if they really cared about Syria, you know, or Syrian refugees, then they would not be supporting the terrorist groups that be in the Idlib province. It is Turkey that is preventing the Syrian refugees from returning back home to Syria. It is Turkey. But now the Edomites, the terrorists themselves, express their anger at Trump's betrayal of the Kurds. Yeah, pretending like they're there for humanitarian effort. No, they are part of ISIS. They've always supported ISIS. But here's what these Edomites are going to say, them fucking liars, those devils, because they're the ones that started this war to begin with. The United States has betrayed the Kurdish people who were U.S. allies in northeastern Syria, American military officials have said. U.S. pulled out of the region ahead of a Turkish incursion after Ankara claimed the attack on the Kurdish regions in a phone call between Turkish President Erdogan and his American counterpart, of course talking about Donald Trump. But you see, this was a deal all along. U.S. media said on Tuesday that the American troops were frustrated at President Trump for his betrayal of the Kurds. Yeah, sure, they were really upset about it back in 1991 as well. While everybody was supporting America, finally we done it, we liberated Kuwait. Yeah, you know, they all celebrated themselves and gave themselves a pat on the back for a job well done, while the Kurds were being slaughtered in Iraq. Yeah, they're really upset about this. Bullshit. But then again, that's what this red Hebrew Edomites do. They lie. They cheat. They steal. They kill. Which is exactly how they got this place. They did everything we asked them to, said one U.S. defense official speaking to media, adding, this is really not good for us. Many Americans are concerned that Trump's policies and sudden U-turns in agreements will make the U.S. lose its credibility. U.S. has no credibility. The only credibility they have is that they harbor and sponsor terrorism. That's what their credibility is. How do we expect anyone to partner with us now? Another U.S. defense official asked. Turkey launched its long-awaited incursion into Syria using the country's military forces and the Turkish-backed militants of the so-called Free Syrian Army, which was the original ISIS, but then they decided, we'll just protect these ISIS youths. Gomer, you're on your own, you know, which has led to Gomer and all his bands joining in there. You know, because, of course, the U.S. had broke alliance with Gomer over the fact that, you know, pretty much they did not back Gomer when they shot down the Russian jet. And then Erdogan had to face Putin alone. Russia damn near would have destroyed them if he didn't make a deal with them, so he bought S-400 systems, which is what's led to the United States breaking its alliance with Gomer, but pretending to still have one. You see, they're trying to get their, you know, terrorist groups back, but nonetheless, though, they're not protecting the Free Syrian Army anymore. So those terrorists are left on their own while they created a new terrorist group in lieu of the Free Syrian Army. And that's what the SDF is about. That's what this whole war has been about between the U.S. and Gomer, but now they've made a deal. Go ahead and attack the Kurds. Fuck them. Fuck them. Hey, we fucked them before back during, the first Operation Desert Storm. We can fuck them again. We're good at fucking people. That's what we do. The offensive targeted Kurdish areas with the U.S.-backed militants from the People's Protection Units guarded the border areas. Turkey said the objective of Operation Peace Spring was to neutralize terror threats against Turkey and lead to the establishment of a safe zone for Syrian refugees. In other words, a safe zone for the Free Syrian Army, which are the terrorists that were originally a part of ISIS when ISIS was all molded into one. But then the United States broke that and created their new terrorist group, the Syrian Democratic Forces. That's what this really is about. The Trump administration, which has threatened to slap big sanctions on Turkey, says Turkish troops would have attacked the Kurds even if the U.S. troops were still there. U.S. lawmakers, however, have harshly denounced Trump's betrayal of the Kurds as a strategic blunder that will further tarnish U.S. credibility, greatly weakening the international community trust of U.S. pacts and policies. Well, everybody knows that the United States are nothing but a fucking bunch of goddamn terrorists. The whole world fucking community knows that. And this is where the beast is going to break off from the whore, Babylon the Great. And this one in from Zero Hedge. Pentagon confirms Manbij handed over to Russia as U.S. forces filmed departing. A stunning development in the key northern city of Manbij, the Pentagon has confirmed a planned handover to Russian military forces is underway amid a Turkish military assault on the region. This also hours after President Trump tweeted that Assad wants naturally to protect the Kurds and that the latest problems should be left to local powers. Which the United States wanted the blood spill, because that's what the United States is good at. Late Monday, the main U.S. base in Manbij was filmed empty of U.S. forces, and American convoys were also spotted hastily pulling out of the city as Syrian national forces entered. Following Sunday's historical deal between the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces and the Assad government. So, pretty much, though, you can see this is all a dog and pony show. The U.S. military has begun a hastily exit from Syria's northern city of Manbij and is set to help Russia establish itself there amid a Turkish attempt to defeat Kurdish-led Pentagon backfires as a strategic location, Newsweek has learned. As the Syrian national flag went up on multiple previous U.S.-backed SDF towns on Monday, it was yet unclear what Russia's role in all that would be. Through Monday, there were also widespread rumors that Russian jets were circling over key border posts as Turkish forces shelled Kurdish positions below. A Pentagon official says Manbij will be handed over to Russia as Russian journalist films a video of the abandoned U.S. military base in town. So we'll see if we can play this here. Alright, this devil ain't gonna let it play. Okay, one more article here, and this is a big one this week. U.S. to send 3,000 troops, warplanes to Saudi Arabia to confront Iran. Following news that an Iranian oil tanker was attacked with missiles off the coast of Saudi Arabia, the U.S. has announced that they will send 3,000 ground troops and 2 squadrons of fighter jets to Saudi Arabia to confront Iran. Through the timing of this seems fairly obviously linked to the missile incident, Pentagon officials made no mention that it even happened. Instead, citing last month's drone attack on Saudi's oil refineries, which Yemeni Houthis claim credit for, but blame that it was blamed on Iran. The U.S. had already sent troops and defensive missiles to the Saudi kingdom over the refineries. Defense Secretary Mark Esper claimed the move was based on a highlighted threat from Iran. Which actually I haven't really seen Iran's response to their oil tanker being fired at. In fact, Iran's actually been pretty calm about this. tensions are certainly higher, even if the Iranian threat is almost always overstated. Having an oil tanker hit with missiles would certainly have this effect on tensions. This rapid announcement of this deployment by the Pentagon suggests they weren't exactly taken by surprise at the incident with the oil tanker. See, they're trying to provoke Iran to respond, but Iran is not stupid. They already know what this trap is. Having U.S. troops in Saudi Arabia at all is historically controversial. Instead, it was one of the main grievances of the Al-Qaeda before 9/11, believing it was inappropriate to have U.S. troops in their holy land. Adding thousands more is only going to make this a bigger deal. Well, that's because the Saudi royal family is really where the terrorists are coming from, which is Amalek. Because ISIS is really Israeli secret intelligence services.
Shalom. First and foremost, call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone who taught me this truth. And Shabbat Shalom to all the sincere Akim of the Tabernacle of David, the for elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And this is in from the blacklisted news. It says, terrifying and totally predictable. Pentagon confirms U.S. forces in Syria came under Turkish artillery fire. And basically, you have the conflict between, those Kurdish forces that's over there in the northern Syria region. And they've been, patrolling on the borders of Turkey. And the Turkish forces is not having it. So they've been in conflict, for a while now. And the Kurds are looking to the U.S. to help them invade. But, Trump is not trying to interfere because, Turkey is a NATO ally. So, they refuse to be a part of that. They only conspired with the Kurdish forces to take down ISIS. But now that ISIS has been defeated over there, Trump is, not trying to get involved with, dealing with Turkey. So, they're looking, at Trump, funny in a light because he just withdrawn those troops and sent, 3,000 over there to Saudi Arabia. And we all know why, that move was made. All right, they got to, send Saudi Arabia, military aid because, they feel threatened by, the Iranian forces, after that attack on their oil facility going back a few months. All right, so them, Trump making that move, Turkey is taking advantage of that shit. All right, and the U.S. forces that still remained among those Kurdish groups over there, they had came under fire, by the Turkish military forces. All right, so basically, it's that smoke is starting to intensify over there. All right, and the scriptures definitely goes into this. All right, and Turkey is one of the key players in this final world's war. All right, you go into Ezekiel the 38th chapter. It talks about Gomer, which is one of the allies of America that's actually siding with Russia. One of the countries that's going to be fighting on the side of Russia when his battle finally intensifies to that final world's war. Okay, so this is all key right here. This is all key information that we should definitely be keeping our eyes on. So in the article it says, as tens of thousands of civilians flee northeast Syria amid Turkey's ongoing offensive targeting Kurdish forces in the region, an operation enabled by U.S. President Donald Trump, the Pentagon confirmed late Friday that U.S. troops in the vicinity of Kobani came under artillery fire from Turkish positions. Newsweek initially reported Friday afternoon, citing both an Iraqi Kurdish intelligence official and a senior Pentagon official, that U.S. special forces operating on Mashtanur Hill in the majority Kurdish city of Kobani fell under artillery fire from Turkish forces conducting their so-called Operation Peace Spring against Kurdish fighters backed by the U.S. but considered terrorist organizations by Turkey. Yeah, and if there's any type of military backing that's conspiring with enemies that we consider a terrorist organization, I don't care who you are. I'm gonna fire upon them too, because I'm gonna look at them as with you, and I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to invade our space. You're trying to basically take over. You know, trying to come into our borders and try to expand your your territory. That's not finna work. So whoever you bring with you, I don't care if it's the U.S. We gonna fire upon you, man. And that's what you see happening. All right. So they fired on U.S. Military special forces based on their affiliation with the Kurds that's trying to take over their territory, man. All right. So that's why the U.S. came under fire by Turkey. It says, according to the unnamed Pentagon official, shelling by Turkish forces was so heavy that the U.S. personnel considered firing back in self-defense. I mean, well, but if you fighting side by side with a so-called terrorist organization that's trying to invade them, then how could you blame them for firing on you? You know, that would look like you're actually trying to, look for a fight. Right. And what it mean by shelling is meaning when them Turkish just putting it on their ass, man. They being bombarded with shells. They're being fired upon. That ta ta ta ta ta ta ta ta ta. Yeah, Turkey got some. They got some ammunition, man. And they've been doing a lot of trading, military wise with Russia, man. So they've been upgrading, their military grade weapons. All right. It says, however, instead of returning fire, the special forces withdrew once the shelling had ceased. And then here's a tweet that says, Jesus, this is terrifying and totally predictable. A senior Pentagon official said shelling by the Turkish forces was so heavy that the U.S. personnel considered firing back in self-defense. Turkey mistakenly attacks U.S. forces in Syria. All right. Hey, you can't blame them, man. It says, following Newsweek's report, a Pentagon spokesperson, Navy Captain Brooke DeWalt, said in a statement that explosion occurred within a few hundred meters of a location outside the security mechanism zone and in an area known by the Turks to have U.S. forces present. Despite the artillery fire, DeWalt said that all U.S. troops are accounted for with no injuries and have not withdrawn from Kobani. The United States remains opposed to the Turkish military move into Syria and especially objects to Turkish operations outside the security mechanism zone and in areas where the Turks no U.S. forces are present, he added. The U.S. demands that Turkey avoids actions that could result in immediate defense action. All right, so it could be a crossfire, man, potentially. Okay, and then you had a lot of civilians that had to flee, that had to get up out of Dodge, So, hey, and this thing is really escalating, man. And then on top of that, right after this happens, Trump basically threatened them with a powerful sanction upon them. So this is just, another move being made where one of America's own allies is becoming an enemy. Okay. America is creating a bunch of frenemies, man. So, hey, this is going down in the Middle East, man. And why? Because that's where the Lord is centering. He's gathering all the nations, and for this final world's war. All right, let's get Joel, the second chapter, and then we're going to go over to the third chapter. All right, Joel chapter 2 and verse 20, it says, but I will remove far off from the northern army and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, and his stink shall come up, and he and his ill savor shall come up because he have done great things. And this is the valley of Jehoshaphat. All right, he's gathering all these different armies and basically mustering them and positioning them over there in the Middle East. They over there among the Euphrates River, which is the river that cuts through. It goes down from Turkey all the way down into the Persian Gulf. Okay, and that's where a lot of proxy wars are being fought. You got Iraq, you got Iran over there. On the eastern side. On the other side, you got Syria. Then down below, you got Lebanon, you got Israel, you got Palestine, you got Gaza. And then going across the Jordan down into the Arabian desert, Saudi Arabia. All right, all the way down to Yemen. So it's all that whole region is just on fire, man, with nothing but tension. All right, so the Lord got all these armies where He wants them, and it's just it's still an algorithm of things that has to snowball before it finally gets to that the final conflict. All right, but that's what it's all leading to, man. The Lord is putting that spirit into the kings of the East, man. All right, let's go to Joel 3 now. Joel 3. And 1, it says, "For behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem," meaning He's going to, bring us out of captivity, "I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat," all right, which means the Most High judgment, "and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel," yet for the land of Israel, because it's still under the occupation of the heathen, mainly Amalek and Ishmael. All right, it says, "whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." Yeah, and the real Israelites are scattered all over. They're not in the land, except for the ones that decide to try to go back and live over there, but they're not even living in the best parts of the land. All right, it's occupied by nothing but heathens, man. But those same heathen nations, they all over there, they're in conflict. They're in constant proxy wars, firing upon each other, man, shooting, rockets against each other, man, destroying buildings, destroying, villages, killing women and children. That's been happening for years now. And that's an indicator to let you know that those people over there are not the people of the Lord. The real Israelites are scattered and waiting to be brought back. All right, and we're just patiently waiting on our Lord, Yahweh Shai comes back. And when He comes back, that's when this war is going to be, at its peak. That's when you're going to have, boots on ground, constant, firing from, tanks and helicopters and, ballistic missile systems going off. Like all that is going to be happening, man. Okay. It says, let me jump down to verse 9, because this, after, the Most High through Prophet Joel, cusses out these heathens for having their role in our captivity, man. They're responsible for why, we're scattered, amongst all nations, man. Not knowing who we are. They were confederate when you go to Psalms the 83rd chapter. They were confederate with each other to make sure that the real Israelites not become a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. All right. So the Lord is causing this war for our sake, man. Let's cause these to come against each other. All right. So they can destroy each other. And the real Israelites, we're going to ultimately get the victory. All right, verse 9, it says, "Proclaim you this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong." Yeah, and that's part of the nations, especially the smaller nations. They're getting their military game up because, they on the verge of how America is going, the hammer of the earth. They're going to have to build their defense mechanisms, man, in case they might get attacked by the U.S., So that's why they've been doing a lot of deals with, Russia and China and Iran, for military purposes. And that's how they're getting their military might up, to have the audacity to actually, stand up to the U.S. and their, bullying tactics, getting sanctions slapped on them and whatnot. So that's what's going on. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, gather yourselves together round about, till there cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge the heathen round about. All right, so we're coming into that time, man. But, there's still a lot of things that have to play out. All right, and keep your eyes open and keep watching what's going on over there, man. Still pay attention to Saudi Arabia, where, those troops are building up over there. All right, so something's getting ready to give, man. Okay, and let me get that in Matthew and close out. This is Matthew 24, verse 6. It says, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Okay, so we're getting close, but we're not at the end, the final end yet. All right, we're still waiting on them to finally move in on Iran. Okay, we're waiting for Russia to jump in. All right, all those assembly of nations with the northern country. All right. We're going to have to see them all move down into, that region, man. All right. And then you're going to see Israel in America fight it out, with the rest of these forces. OK, the beast hating the whore turning against America, man. All these things all has to fester first. All right. And then after that, hey, we already see the uproars of the people, so we already know that we're in that time. It's just only a matter of time when, this finally escalates, man. Then things are going to move pretty quickly. The chip is going to finally be mandatory, instituted. They're going to lock people up in the FEMA camps everywhere. It's going to be, wars in the streets because all, the economy is going to collapse. We waiting on all these things, man. Okay. So, that's pretty much it. I just want to go into that. It's kind of like a quick update, as far as that prophecy, and hey, keep praying, keep fasting, keep striving. All right, fight the good faith, man. We almost up out of here, man. All right, these prophecies should motivate you, man. All right, stay in the fight, man. So anyway, with that, call Allah, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Shabbat Shalom. Until next time, Shalom.
So putting this all together, pretty much so, we're at the very beginning stages of this. This is 2 Ezra chapter 6, starting in verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And we're at the beginning of this transition where the power of Esau Edom is crumbling, and Jacob, starting with the prophets, which for right now it seems like we're a small group, but one third of us is actually going to be spared from this destruction. 1/3 will repent, along with 144,000, the house of David. And the house of David has been built, so that's why we're starting to see this transition. We're starting to see Esau Edom fall apart. We're starting to see the beast hate the whore and want to burn her with fire. So we're at the very beginning stages of this, because they're sick of the United States and it's bullshit. So we're seeing this. Esau being the end of this world and Jacob the beginning of it that followeth. So when you see the prophets out on the streets like I was, of course the Edomites want to mock and make fun of it, which is why that Edomite interrupted me. Ultimately, because he could see that he's near his end. But remember what I stated before, and here's where it comes into play. I stated, as many others have stated, actually I was just reinstated what had already been stated, that Esau is a wounded animal out in the wilderness, and what do you think that animal's going to do now that he's been wounded? He's been wounded by this truth and all that. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to fucking flip the fuck out, and you can see that man had demons on him, You don't know what this man's capable of, but remember, he's a wounded animal, so what are you going to do? Well, you're going to do what you can, but nonetheless, do you confront a wounded animal? Do you pick up a squirrel after you run it over? Oh, man. You do what you can to leave it the fuck alone, because you know that Esau's losing his grip. He's going to be coming after us, and Most High will have the protection of his prophets. Some of us might have to lose our heads over this testimony. I mean, the guillotines are there. The hand of man is bewitched to the heel and the hand. Other question, Esdras, asked thou not. If I answered then and said, O Lord that bearest rule, if I have found favor in thy sight, I beseech thee, show thy servant the end of thy tokens, whereof thou showest me part the last night. And we're in that last night right now. As that national anthem, we're at the twilight's last gleaming. So they're last gleaming, man. They can't hold on to any credibility. Everybody sees the United States as the greatest traitor of all. Definitely, how many times are they going to screw over the Kurds? I mean, they do it again and again. That any word with the United States is just going to break it anyways. So they hate the whore. I answered then and said, O Lord that bearest rule, if I found favor in thy sight, I beseech thee, show thy servant the end of thy tokens, whereas thou showest me the part of the last night. So at the twilight's last gleaming, as I said before. So he answered me and said unto me, stand upon thy feet, and hear a mighty sounding voice. And that's what's happening, man. We're speaking loudly on the streets. We're out there. We're speaking. And the prophecies are speaking. And that Edomite, he knew it. He knew that there wasn't much left of this. And it shall be as it were a great motion, but the place where thou standest shall be mourned. And therefore, when it speaketh, be not afraid, for the word is of the end, and the foundation of the earth is understood. And why? Because the speech of these things trembleth, and is moved, for it knoweth that the end of these things must be changed. And that's what's happening. We're seeing a transitioning. Esau's a wounded animal, and, I'm pretty sure he wanted to have a reason to strike me. He wanted me to provoke him because he was trying to provoke me, but I did not react in anger. I just quietly left. He may think he ran me off, but I'll be right back. He had his moment. He's going to really be shitting his fucking pants when he sees some fucking missiles going off. And it happened that when I heard it, I stood up upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spoke, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters, talking about Yahweh Shai. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and visit them that dwell upon the earth. And that's happening now. And will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that how hurt unjustly with the unrighteousness, and the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. So again, we're seeing it. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. These books are being opened right now. The angels that are holding back the battle in the river Euphrates, that's where Gomer and all his bands are right now. So you can see these angels letting loose. And the Valley of Yehoshaphat is open. The troops are moving into Saudi Arabia. And tensions with Iran are increasing. At least their flock, Amalek's going to draw them into this battlefield. And we're seeing that. Amalek has taken a lot of things on their own, man. They've been invading Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Syria. And if they could get into Iran, they will. Eventually they will get into Iran. And you can see that mark of the beast is right around the corner. PG&E shut off the power last week, and they said they would just do that regularly because of wildfire threat, which that there's no wildfire threat except the energy weapons that they're using. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The woman with child shall bring forth untimely children, or 3 or 4 months old, and shall loo and be raised up. And that's what's happened now, from young to old, man, we're out there now prophesying, we're being raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. You know, our people are leaving them fucking whorehouses that they call church, and they're getting to the real church, which is the ministry that'd be on the streets. And that other Edomite knew that, man, that the real church is on the street. And the trumpet shall glue a sound which, when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid. And they're afraid. Esau's a wounded animal. They see these things happening. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The spring of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 houses they shall not run. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, they're going to ravage your houses. They're going to break in. That's already happening ever since the car fire, man. You know, people are trying to claim, you know, they're going into these abandoned buildings and then trying to claim the houses is theirs, trying to literally throw people out of the houses, you know, because their houses were ravaged. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and shall see my salvation and the end of your world. So again, you know, those that are abiding, you know, are going to see the salvation. The salvation is for the elect of Yashala. And the men that are rescued shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. Again, you know, pretty much though, what's going to happen is this place is going to be consumed by nuclear fire. That Edomite, he knew it. And, you know, like everything else, so that's why he was interrupted, because, you know, he knows that his time is near. So, hope all this has been edifying. Going to still go out there and teach. Most likely I'm going to do a lesson tomorrow morning, you know, Lord willing. So, for that, you know, I want to say Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, Wa Abab Abal. Barakathum to your hopeful elect. I hope these videos are edifying. Shalom.
Alright, Shalom. Shalom. Alright, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shai, Kal Halayim La Alahayanawa, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Shalom Wa Barakim, La Bakarim Yasha Allah, Wa Sheni Kabag Gawala Wakab, Zukwanim Nuwa, Waha Shalayakim Nuwa Yasha Allah Ba'ayth. Alright, giving all praise to Yahweh, it's the name of the Heavenly Father, alright. And then I said in the name of his son, this is all in the Hebrew, his son is Yahweh Shai. And I said in the name of the Holy Spirit, and peace and blessings to the elect of Israel, whom Yahweh Shai is coming to deliver, the elect family. In the Hebrew, that would be Mashapaka Bakayarim. Alright. And double honors, of course, to our elders and apostles, known as Great Millstone in these times in the English, and in the Hebrew, that would be Gawala Wakav. Alright, that's everything that I just said in the Hebrew. I just translated in English for you. Alright, so I'm just going to come back with just like a little prophecy update, you know. As we're on the road to World War III, and Yahweh Bashmi Yahweh Shai, sending his son Yahweh Shai back to come get us. But before this happens, before the gathering of the elect, there's going to be a massive war, and there's a lot of buildup going on in the Middle East. So I'm just going to pull 2 articles, get some precepts we know, and, you know, just give you some something to be excited about, you know, going into this this slavery week, you know, wherever the elect may be scattered out throughout the globe. All right, so no further ado, this article from Yahoo, it says Pentagon to send more troops, fighter jets to Saudi Arabia to confront threat from Iran. And one thing I want to say too, you know, there's a lot of drama going on, a lot of distractions going on the earth. All right, as far as in the entertainment world, celebrity, the sports world, Esau is doing bread and circuses all over again. Even in the Israelite world, there's a lot of drama going on. All right, going on right now. But guess what? The prophecies is really what's popping. All right, that's really the thing that's trending to the spiritual and to the elect. All right, so don't let all these distractions and all these things throw you off. Just look, man, it's troops and more troops on the way in the Middle East. All right, and that's the thing that's what needs to be talked about. But you're not going to see Joel Osteen talking about this. You're not going to see certain sects of Israel talking about this. You're not going to on CNN and the mainstream news and in these different churches. You're not going to see them talking about what's going on in the Middle East in relation to what the Lord actually says in the scriptures. You're definitely not going to see it on the news, because this is not a God-fearing country. So it's our job as prophets of our nation, all right, which consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the rest of the Israelite foreigners, that John saw in Revelation 7th chapter. All right, these things are happening for us. All right, it's our duty to bring these things out as prophets, because this is the most important thing, is to be occupied in prophecy. So the Pentagon to send more troop fighter jets to Saudi Arabia to confront the threat from Iran. Now the ancient the Iranians in the Bible are known as the Elamites, all right, the Persians. Washington, it says Washington, the Pentagon will send 1,000 more troops and 2 squadrons of fighter jets to Saudi Arabia as tensions increase with Iran. And this is all prophecy according to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, all right, with Gog and Magog. It says the moves follow an attack last month in oil production facilities in Saudi Arabia that Iran was clearly responsible for, Defense Secretary Mark Esper said Friday. Iran denied it had a role in the attacks, which an Iranian-backed proxy force claimed credit for. It says the deployment adds to the 11,000 troops sent to the region since May in response to the request from U.S. Central Command, which oversees military operations in the Middle East. Friday's announcement covers troops sent to the region or whose developments have extended. In all, the Pentagon has added about 3,000 troops over the last month. So that's a lot, all right? You're talking about, in 1 month, you know, you got 3 weeks. You're talking about 1,000 troops, 1,000 soldiers a week, you know, going over there. Now, this is I love this, you know. I hope it jumps up to 2,000 a week, you know, to increase, because the scripture speaks about this. First of all, first and foremost, before we even get into the prophets, well, Moses was a prophet, so this counts. But before even the books of the prophets, in this here, we have this in Exodus 15:3. It says, "The Lord is a man of war; the Lord is His name." So a lot of people, you know, they think that this war that's going on in the Middle East, this gathering of the troops, this is the work of the enemy. You know, like, this is the work of Satan. No, this is the work of the Lord. He is a man of war. All right. The Lord, it says the Lord is His name, and His name is Yahweh. All right. This isn't Yahuwah's doing. It's not Yahweh's doing. It's Yahweh's doing. All right. Now, let me just read this precept. This is Proverbs 16:4. It says, "The Lord hath made all things for Himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil." And we can see the day of evil closely approaching. All right. That's why the U.S. is sending their military over there, all right, to the Middle East, along with all these other nations, all right, and I'm going to bring out the articles on that. This is Joel 2:18. It says, Joel 2:18. I'm sorry, Joel 2:20. Yahweh Allah 2:20. That's how you say Joel's name in Hebrew, Yahweh Allah. It says, "But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive them into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things." All right, and that's what's going on. That northern army is talking about the North American army. All right, now let me get a Middle East map so you can see what the Lord is talking about here in Joel. Okay. These are these two. Salakia. Where is it at? Let me zoom out. Salak. Let me grab this. Okay, here we go. It's gonna have to work. All right. These are those two bodies of water that the scriptures are talking about. Here you have Saudi Arabia, where the troops are getting sent. This is what Joel, the prophets. This is Joel speaking right now. All right. Joel is speaking right now. Now, where Iran is situated, let me just zoom out. Now you can see what you have. The U.S. is sending troops here to combat what's going on here. All right. At the same time, you have war breaking out along this border. All right. So the Lord is stirring up war in all this region. And right now, we're in the prophecy of Joel 2:20. It's going on right now. This is Jeremiah. Also, Jeremiah 50:22. It says, "A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction." And that's what's going to happen. What's going to happen eventually is, once this war breaks out, and more troops are sent over there from the U.S. and from various other countries. Everybody's going to be fighting each other in the Middle East. All right, that's the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Most High in the name of the Son. That's being pushed out in the earth, and it's going to continue to happen. All right, and it's going to end. It's going to end with America losing, right along with all these other nations. All right, Jeremiah or Jeremiah in the Hebrew, chapter 50, verse 23. It says, "How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations?" And now that's a future prophecy, all right? Because Babylon just is right now is America, okay? Ancient Babylon was over there in Iraq. This Babylon that Jeremiah is talking about this land. Now it says, how is it cut asunder? Well, first of all, its money is collapsing, all right? It's having societal problems. Racial tensions are on the rise, all right? The animals, the air, everything is polluted here in Babylon, and it's filthy. That's why the Lord's going to end up having to destroy this place after World War III. All right, there's not going to. People say that World War IV. It just sounds stupid. People say that World War IV is going to be fought with sticks and stones. All right, after this war that goes down, all right, there's going to be no more wars on earth because Yahweh Shai will be ruling with the elect. All right, Abaratazah. We endure unto the end, we can get gathered up and control this earth again. All right. Verse 24. It says, "I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken." Right. What's that snare? Being lured into Iran. All right. Being lured over into the Middle East. You have Trump. What's going on? They evacuated troops out of northern Syria and Turkey because Turkey just invaded Syria. He removed troops. He's trying to evacuate American civilians in that land in Turkey, but at the same time, he's sending troops, all right, sending troops to Saudi Arabia, all right? Why? Because there's a snare being laid over there in the Middle East, all right? He thinks he's making chess moves, but all the chess moves that America is making is causing them to lose, all right? And the Lord is controlling it. It says, "O Babylon, thou wast not aware. Thou art found also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord." And how art thou found and how art thou caught? Because of us, we see, all right, we see this place for what it is. We know who it is. We can identify what's going on in the spirit with this place in relation to what's going on in the east, all right, to figure out what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is what? There's going to be more troops being sent over there. Troops, and more troops as we get closer and closer to the Big Bang, all right? It says, verse 25, says, "The Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, hath opened his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans." All right, so the Lord is bringing everything he got. All right, and he's using these nations to do so. The Lord is controlling Trump on the left-hand side. Now, this is another quick one I just want to bring out. This article, all right, this article is entitled, "Australia, Fiji to send peacekeeping troops to the Israeli-Syrian border." All right, you can see that. Now, this is another sign. This is more prophecy. All right, because again, troops. You got the U.S. sending troops because of the Iranian tensions, and then you got this country, Australia, is sending peacekeeping because they're trying to balance it out. All right, I'm just going to read a little bit of this, and I'll put these articles in the description, but I want to get the precepts for real. This is, let me just read down here. All right, Netanyahu, and you're not going to get it. Because Netanyahu, his name means give to me, basically give to me some of the right. Benjamin, some of the right. Netanyahu's like saying like, Nathaniah. All right, now let me jump down some. And he's just a puppet, you know. He's just a puppet. This is, it says Australia and Fiji will send joint United Nations peacekeeping mission to dispute region in Middle East as soon as next week. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said over the weekend. The co-development of the troops to a territory on the border area between Israel and Syria is unrelated to current events in the northeastern Syria, the Australian Defense Ministry said in a statement. All right, it says they're going to be going there next week. Morrison was cited by Australian media as saying during his second visit to Fiji in his third official meeting with the Fijian Prime Minister. It says the engagement here politically with Fiji, but also with so many nations around the Pacific, and particularly the security engagement that we're having here, is all about keeping the whole region safe and stable and secure. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. And these nations aren't coming together to talk about the day of the Lord, you know. They're coming together to talk about bringing in their own way of righteousness, you know, their own way of peace. All right. But guess what? The Lord's going to bring his peace. But before he does that, he has to bring his sword. And these nations are fighting against the sword. All right. It doesn't matter how many peacekeeping troops you send. The troops that are created for the day of evil are going to surpass that. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, Slakia, I love this precept. But when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. All right, and that's exactly what it is. Australia can send them peacekeeping troops, but guess what? The U.S. is sending 1,000 troops a week over there to Saudi Arabia. All right, because things are heating up with Iran, and that thing's not going to stop. All right, now this is Daniel's 2 and 44. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people. That's the kingdom of Israel, starting with Yahushua. This vision is about Yahushua destroying these kingdoms, because it's going to say it. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So let's look up that word consume. All right, how is Yahushua going to get his kingdom? He's gonna consume these other nations first. And that's going to be with that World War III, because Yahushua is going to show it with the angels in the midst of all these troops fighting over there in the east. Yet our Lord and Savior Yahushua is going to show up, all right, with the angels, and you're going to see the air force of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua take over. Consume here says to be fulfilled, complete, to be filled, to put to an end. All right, and that's what he's going to do. All right, you got Australia trying to put the war to an end and stuff. Yahushua is going to be the one to put all the war to an end, because we're going to come out victorious. These other nations are trying to fight to establish their kingdom, but that's not going to work. It said the kingdom's not going to be left to other people. That's why the scriptures identify the next ruling body. All right, the 144,000 with the throne, standing with the Lamb before the throne of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Now, yeah, that's it. You know, that's pretty much it. You know, they just wanted to bring out those two articles. You just how more troops are going to be sent over there. Let me just scroll down a little bit, see if there's any more of this article. It says, in June, President Trump called off airstrikes on Iran at the last moment after Iran had downed a U.S. Navy drone flying over the Persian Gulf. In addition to the two fighter squadrons, the deployment announced Friday includes 2 Patriot counter-missile batteries and a terminal high-altitude air defense system designed to destroy incoming missiles. All right, so it's piping up, you know. It's lit over there. You know, it's Rabba war. It's very lit over there through the Spirit. So, you know, the Wadi Ha Bashim Al-Shah for allowing me to see this, put this out through the Spirit. I just want to bring out some prophecy, you know, as we go into this work week. You know, keep your eyes open. You know, keep your eyes focused on the Middle East. Be excited, you know, because things are happening amongst all these distractions that are in Israel. All right, those who know of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua and those who don't. All right, in the entertainment world, there's all types of carnality going on. You know, we have to see through that shit, stick with the prophecies, filter through the scriptures, and just keep watching, praying, you know, fasting, like Yahushua says, so we don't get taken unawares. All right. So the Wadi Ha Bashim Yahushua, Brakte Hal, Brakte Yahushua. I just checked the comment board. Shalom to everyone tuning in. Shalom, shalom. All right. And yeah, shalom to all the elect. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Brakte Bashim Kakwadash. Washing Markham, you know, bless and keep you all through the Spirit. To our elders and apostles, I'll say shalom, wa barakim and shenik balakam. Peace and blessing to you all, and double honors to you all. Gawala wakab. All right, great millstone. But with that, I say shalom. Hey, keep sending up them prayers for troops, and more troops. All right, shalom.